Henry has returned to Hong Kong after serving in the US military for several years. To pursue a career in teaching, he returns to Tak Chi Secondary, his former school. The principal points out that he has no teaching experience, but he is hired after being shown a letter of recommendation from a higher-ranking official. Before Henry leaves, the principal informs him that the class he is assigned to is the worst at the school. On Henry's first day of school, he finds the classroom completely chaotic. Some students are sleeping, singing, playing video games, and preparing ramen on a portable stove. Despite the presence of the teacher, the students continue their activities. Henry tries to get their attention, but they ignore him. After failing to divert their attention, he moves around the classroom, commenting on their current activities. Students who are cooking are instructed to consume less ramen. Henry then approaches a guy named Zufa who is playing the ukulele and assists him with it. Similarly, he cautions a gamer kid about the potential radiation exposure from prolonged screen time. When students begin to listen, he introduces himself and writes his name and phone number on the board. The students laugh because his handwriting is poor. The children ignore him and continue their previous activities. Henry uses a rubber band and chalk to activate the room's fire sprinklers. The students spread out quickly to avoid getting wet. He finally has their full attention and officially welcomes them into his class. After class, a group of 5 lowest-ranking students gathers in the sports supply room to smoke. Jack, the group's leader, has a crush on an A-grade student in another class. The others make fun of him for staring at her picture. The group competes with the privileged students on the school's basketball team. Upon entering the supply room, they mock Jack due to his poverty status. Later, Jack and the group observe the basketball team practicing from a close distance. Jack drops a bottle on the court which causes the team leader to fall. The group laughs but is given detention by the school's English teacher Miss Leon. To avoid detention, they play a prank on her and run away when she is busy cleaning her desk. The school's principal is concerned that the education board plans to deduct 20% of their annual funding. The board members conduct a tour of the school to assess the use of funds. As Henry enters the classroom, the students set up a bucket of water to prank him. But his reflexes are faster than the falling bucket, and he can push it away. The students who had planned to mock him are taken aback. Henry requests Jack's cigarette packet, aware of Jack's smoking habits. Jack hands him the pack, curious about what he plans to do. Henry asks Zufa to name the 3 ingredients in cigarettes. When he correctly answers the question, he is permitted to skip class for the day. Everyone begins to bang on their desks, demanding that they be allowed to skip class as well. When they come to a halt, he hands each of them a cigarette and requests that they examine it. Henry understands that simply mentioning the impact on their health won't be taken seriously. Instead, he asks about the effects of smoking and explains how tar forms in the lungs. For the first time, they pay attention to the teacher and are eager to learn. After the bell rings, he asks them to return the cigarettes, which the students reluctantly do. In the cafeteria, the basketball team captain causes Jack's friend Bruce to trip on his leg. This causes an argument between the groups, which escalates into a fight. They hurl food and tables at one another, destroying the place. Later, Henry learns that 5 students in his class have been suspended for starting the fight. Henry discovers Jack and his opponent fighting in the hallway and intervenes. When asked to calm down, Jack accuses the school of being unfair because wealthy students are not punished. After school, Henry reviews the files of all 5 students to learn more about them. Zufa, the son of a Pakistani immigrant, faces discrimination based on his race. Police officers in his neighborhood frequently accuse him of theft. Zufa's only ambition is to become a musician. Dinan, the second student, is female. Her father had always desired a son and considered her a disappointment since birth. Dinan has spent her entire life trying to earn the respect of her father. She even cut her hair short and played with cars to pretend she was a boy. Her father disregards her while lavishing her younger brother with royal treatment. Then there are brothers named Bruce and Chris. Their father became an alcoholic after his mother ran away with another man when they were young. Throughout their childhood, the brothers relied solely on each other. Bruce became obsessed with video games to escape reality, while Chris worked hard at a grocery store to provide for the family. Finally, Henry can't find any information about Jack's family background. In the following scene, we see Jack working at a restaurant as a waiter. Jianying, an MMA bettor, arrives at the restaurant with business partners. Jack steals Jianying's fancy lighter and is caught. Jianying's men beat him up while he is checking Jack's ID. When he discovers he is a student, he offers him money and a job as a food deliveryman. Henry visits Zufa's home and discovers him escaping from his father and associates after stealing a ticket. He initially assists him, but after discovering the reason for his pursuit, he sides with the father. Then, he and Zufa visit the bridge. Henry performs with a band on the streets to inspire Zufa to pursue his dreams. Zufa, who had been bullied at school, joins him and sings for the first time in front of others. Bruce and Chris's father arrives home late, as usual, and requests a beer from the store. When the brothers refuse, he yells at them to leave the house. Henry persuades their father to attend rehab for the sake of his sons the following day. Dinan's father presents her with makeup products and encourages her to act like a girl. Dinan is angry with him for constantly making her feel inadequate. She applies makeup on her younger brother and leaves the house with the car key. Henry intervenes just as she is about to drive away in her father's car. He advises her that driving without a license is illegal and offers an alternative. Following that, they visit a go-kart racing track. Henry also challenges her father to a race. During the race, the father and daughter are brutally competitive and end up outside the track. Dinan's go-kart is hit by a vehicle, but she manages to avoid it. Her father, unaware of this, weeps in grief over his daughter's passing. Dinan realizes he loves her and embraces her. Bruce and Chris, along with a group, visit a rehabilitation center to interview a recovering alcoholic the following day at school. They're surprised to learn that the person they'll be interviewing is their father. The students inquire about how he began drinking. The man stated that he loved his wife, but she left him at a low point in his life. As a result, he began drinking and lost sight of his responsibilities for his 2 children. The man does not reveal that Bruce and Chris are his sons, but does apologize to them. The brothers end up crying. Jack has started working for MMA bettor Jenny. He offers Jack a large sum of money to drug a fighter's drink during the next game. Jack is hesitant, but is compelled to accept the offer. Jenny sponsors a fighter but bets against them on the fight day. Jack tried to add drugs to the fighter's drink but was caught. Before he can blame Jenny, he is beaten and confined to a locker. After a while, Henry arrives and asks the fighters if they have seen his student. The men ask him to return home, but Jack yells for help from inside the locker. When Henry realizes he is being held captive, he attacks and easily defeats his captors. Henry effectively dodges the fighters' attacks, even when the fight becomes more intense. In just a few minutes, he defeated their top fighter. In the following scene, they are at the hospital, where Henry is being treated for his injuries. Jack tries to tell the truth about Jennying but is told to shut up. Henry became known as the man who beat up a professional fighter to save his student after the news broke on television. His popularity grows at school, and the students begin to respect him. In contrast to how they were earlier, they even stand up to greet him in class. In a flashback, we learn that Henry was a prankster in school. He even threw water balloons at a student performing piano for parents during an event. He later fought the same student, breaking his hand. He was suspended for the fight and then had to fly to the United States. Beginning that day, students focus on Henry's teaching and diligently prepare for the college entrance exam. Everyone is doing well, except for Bruce, who has developed a pill addiction. Chris turned to video games to cope with family issues, while Bruce began using drugs. He performs poorly on the mock entrance test due to lack of focus. Henry promises to help him, but Bruce's depression worsens with time. Eventually, he jumps off the balcony of their home. He is rushed to the hospital and enters a coma. The media spins the story, blaming the school and Henry for what Bruce did. Officials from the education board interview Henry and decide to revoke his teaching license. When he packs his belongings and leaves the school, students chase him down and ask him to stay. His absence has left them heartbroken, but they are determined to pass their upcoming test and make him proud. Since that day, they have worked twice as hard to demonstrate to the board that Henry is an excellent teacher. On test day, Jack and his classmates receive a text from Henry to meet at school an hour before the exam. When the students gather, they discover Jenning's plan to keep them confined to the school, preventing them from reaching the exam hall on time. He's doing it to teach Henry a lesson. A while later, Henry arrives at school and discovers Jenning's plan. He frees the students and fights Jenning's followers to prevent them from harming the children. They flee and quickly make their way to the examination hall, where Henry battles Jenning. During their fight, Jenning reveals that he was the one Henry had thrown water balloons at as a child. Henry's broken arm prevented him from participating in a major music competition. Since the incident, he hasn't played the piano and blames Henry for ruining his dreams. Henry tries to reason with him, but is attacked again. They struggle to get their hands on a knife. Henry gets a chance but refrains from killing Jianying. He apologizes for his actions as a child and leaves. Students arrive at the examination hall on time and complete the test. A few weeks later, everyone passes with flying colors. Jianying returns to playing the piano but needs more practice to reach his previous level. Bruce recovers quickly and agrees to take the next year's entrance exam. The principal is ecstatic after receiving a 20% bonus fund from the board due to their students' outstanding performance in the entrance test. Henry gets back to teaching and performs the fire sprinkler trick on another group of students. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.